This example would show up on a non-calculator part of your test. So we start with 2 cos squared x equals 1. We're in degrees, okay? Gonna see if I can pay attention to that right from the beginning this time. So again, you're solving a trig equation. We only have cos squared. You'd like to get that by itself. So I can divide both sides by 2, and I would get cos squared x equals a half. And in order to get cos x by itself, I would need to square root both sides. When you square root both sides, have to remember that plus or minus. Now, when this question has come up on a final exam, a lot of students got stuck at this point. It was on a non-calculator, and they had this square root of a half that they didn't know what to do with, because a half is on your pie plate, but not the square root of a half. And so some students just said, well, maybe I should just ignore it. Don't ignore things. Maybe I should just ignore the square root because then everything will work out nice and just deal with the half. No. So what do we have to do here? We're going to have to play around with this equation, manipulate it until it matches up with something. So we use some of our skills with square roots from grade 11. Right? A square root of a fraction is the same as the square root of the top over the square root of the bottom. And with that, the square root of 1 is just 1. So you get 1 over root 2. And maybe at this point you go, hey, I've seen that before. The square root of 1 over 2, or 1 over the square root of 2, is the same as, if you rationalized your denominator, square root of 2 over 2. And so at this point you can say, I recognize this. That's my 45-degree family or my pi over 4 family. And because we have plus or minus, we're going to have all 4 quadrants. So at this point we can say x is equal to 45 degrees in quadrant 1, 135 degrees quadrant 2, 225 degrees quadrant 3, and 315 degrees for quadrant 4. But the hard part in this question was once we got cos by itself, manipulating that to make it match with something on our unit circle. Using our skills with radicals from grade 11 to do that. Square rooting the top, then recognizing that if we rationalize our denominator, we get root 2 over 2, which is on our unit circle. Questions for homework are 5 and 11. I'd like you to turn to question 5 right now. Question 5 says verify. Instead of, I would like you to change, put a line through verify, and I just want you to change it to be a solve question. Okay? I actually want you to solve it between 0 and 2 pi. One of the answers that you get should be what they say to verify. They want you to verify that pi over 3 is the right answer. We should get pi over 3 as one of our answers. It might not be the only one. So I'd just like you to change that and do that for question 5 instead of the word verify.